Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how you can install Ubuntu 24.04 LTS version on your Windows operating system virtually using VirtualBox. So first of all, what is VirtualBox? VirtualBox is a tool which will allow you to install any operating system virtually on your host operating system. So for example, you will be able to run Ubuntu operating system virtually on your Windows 11 operating system using VirtualBox. So if you don't know how to install VirtualBox, just open your favorite browser and search for VirtualBox, and the first link which will appear here will be from virtualbox.org. So just click on this link and straight away you will be able to see this download button. So you just need to download the exe file for Windows operating system. So when you click on the download button, you will see this Windows host here. And when you click on the Windows host, you will see that the download of this VirtualBox exe will start. And when you click on this exe file, you will be able to install VirtualBox. Now installing VirtualBox is really easy. You just need to click some next buttons and VirtualBox will be installed. So I'm not going to show you how you can install VirtualBox. Once VirtualBox is installed, it'll look something like this, where you can create some virtual machines. In my case, I have already installed these virtual machines on my Windows 11 host using VirtualBox. So now we also want to install Ubuntu 24.04 using VirtualBox. So in order to download the ISO file for Ubuntu, you can go to your favorite browser once again and search for Ubuntu, and the first link which will appear here will be from ubuntu.com/downloads. I'm going to click on this link, and here you will be able to see this desktop option. So just click on desktop and you can see at the time of making this video, Ubuntu 24.04 LTS version is the latest version. LTS stands for long-term support version. So to download the ISO file, you just need to click on this download 24.04 LTS option here, which is going to ask you to provide your email ID. But if you don't want, just skip this option. And in the background, you will also see that the Ubuntu ISO file will start downloading, right? So it's around 6 GB file, so it will take some time to download. So I have already downloaded this ISO file, so I'm going to cancel this download, but in your case, just wait for the download to complete. So once you have the Ubuntu ISO file on your Windows operating system, it's going to look something like this. And in my case, it says Ubuntu 24.04 desktop amd64.iso file. So once you have this ISO file, let's start by creating the virtual machine on our VirtualBox manager. So here, just click on new, and then we are going to name our virtual machine as Ubuntu, or whatever name you want to give here. I'm going to name my virtual machine as Ubuntu 24.04 LTS, for example. And as soon as you write Ubuntu here, you can see VirtualBox is going to recognize that you want to install Ubuntu operating system, and the type is Linux here. You also have other types here, for example, Windows or Solaris or Mac OS X, and the version here is Ubuntu 64-bit. So just leave everything as default. If you don't see Ubuntu 64-bit here, you can always use this drop down menu and select Ubuntu 64-bit from here. Click on next now. Now on the next window, you can choose your hardware. So here your base memory can be selected, and you can also choose the processors. So generally for my virtual machines, I select the base memory up to this green mark here. So here you can see this green line ends here. So I just move this bar until the end of the green line. And also processors, I can choose up to 4 processors on my Windows operating system. But in your Windows operating system, if you have more CPUs, you can always increase the CPU number from the VirtualBox setting. In some cases, you can also enable the EFI, but for now we are going to leave it as unchecked, and I'm going to click on next here. Now here in the virtual hard disk section, it says create a virtual hard disk now, and the disk size is 25 GB. For my virtual machines, I generally allocate around 100 GB of space, which will be the dynamic space. So it's not going to take 100 GB straight away, but it can expand whenever required, right? So let me move it to around 100, or you can also give 100 GB in this text box. So I'm going to just write 100 GB here. Now here you can also check this checkbox which says pre-allocate full size, but I don't want to do this. I want to use the dynamically allocated size, right? So I don't want to straight away pre-allocate this 100 GB. So I'm going to leave this checkbox as unchecked. Okay. And then I'm going to click on next here. And here you can see the summary of your selections. If you are happy, then click on finish, which is going to create this virtual machine. So you can see Ubuntu 24.04 LTS virtual machine is created. Now when you select this virtual machine, and then when you click on the settings option, you will be able to see more settings about this virtual machine. So for example, in the general section, when you click on advanced here, you can see these two options, which is shared clipboard and drag and drop. Both are disabled by default, but generally what I do here is I select bi-directional for both these options. This means that you will be able to use the shared clipboard from your Windows 11 operating system, which is the host operating system in my case, into your Ubuntu operating system, which will be the virtual machine, right? So you can drag and drop the files or folders between your host and your virtual machine, and you can also use the shared clipboard. That means you can copy the text from your host to your virtual machine and vice versa. Okay, so just make sure that both are bi-directional here. Description you can choose if you want, but I leave it as default. And then you have disk encryption. For now I'm going to leave it as default. Now when I click on system, as you can see, the base memory is this here, and then you also have the processors. I have selected the four processors in my case, but in your case you can increase or decrease these CPU counts from the settings also. Display settings, I'm going to leave it as default. Now when I click on storage settings, here I can give the location to my Ubuntu ISO file, right? So when I click on this empty disk icon under controller, and when I click on this disk icon here, I can see this option which says choose create the virtual optical disk. So let me click on this first option here, and from here I'm going to just click on add here, and then I'm going to navigate to my ISO file which I have downloaded for Ubuntu 24.04, which is this one. So I'm going to just select this ISO file and then click on open here, and now you can see this ISO file is also added to my list. So I can select this and then click on choose here, and you will be able to see that this Ubuntu 24.04 desktop amd64.iso file is selected here. Once that's done, just leave all other settings as default and then click on OK. And then once all the settings are done, we are ready to install the Ubuntu using VirtualBox. So just select your virtual machine and then click on start button here, which is going to start the installation of your Ubuntu operating system. So at this point, just select the first option here, which is try or install Ubuntu, and then press enter here, which is going to start the installation of Ubuntu. So after a few seconds, you will see this kind of Ubuntu desktop. If you see black screen here instead of this Ubuntu desktop for, let's say, 10 minutes continuously, then what you can do here is you can go to the machine here and then click on reset option here, which is going to reset your virtual machine, and it's going to restart your Ubuntu virtual machine again, and hopefully this time it's going to work, right? So in my case, I had to press this reset button once, and then the restart of Ubuntu virtual machine happened, and this time I can see this kind of window in Ubuntu 24.04. Now once you see this kind of desktop, here you can see install Ubuntu option. So just click on this option, which is for install Ubuntu. Now here the first step is to choose your language. The default language is English here. I'm going to leave it as default, but if you want to run Ubuntu in any other language, for example German or Spanish or any other language, just choose it from here and then click on next. Now here you have the accessibility in Ubuntu options. So you have the seeing, hearing, typing and other options. For now I will leave everything as default and then click on next. And now you can choose the keyboard layout. So if you are using the keyboard which is country specific, for example, if you are using the keyboard from some other countries like Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, every country have the country specific keyboard layout, right? So just select the country specific keyboard layout. In my case, I'm using the German keyboard layout. So I'm going to choose the German keyboard layout from here. I can select German here. That means I'm going to use the German keyboard with my Ubuntu operating system. So just select the keyboard type which you have and then click on next here. And now you have the connect to internet option. So in our case, because we are installing Ubuntu via the VirtualBox, you will see that this Wi-Fi option is grayed out and you have this use wired connection. So in the case of VirtualBox, you can just select this use wired connection even though you are connected via the Wi-Fi on your host operating system, right? So just leave it as use wired connection and then click on next here. And now you have this option which says what do you want to do with Ubuntu. So here I'm going to select install Ubuntu and then click on next here. And then you have two options here. How do you like to install Ubuntu? I'm going to select this option which says interactive installation and then click on next here. And then what apps would you like to install to start with? I'm going to use the default selection and then click on next here. Now on the next window, I have this option which says install recommended proprietary software. I'm going to check both these checkboxes, which is for third-party software and download and install support for additional media format, and then click on next. And at this point, you can see this next window which says how do you want to install Ubuntu. At this point, just leave this as erase disk and install Ubuntu. Don't worry, it's not going to erase your base operating system, which is Windows 11 in my case. It's just a step in the process of installing Ubuntu on VirtualBox. So it's not going to erase anything on your operating system. Just leave it as erase disk and install Ubuntu and then click on next here. And now we have the create your account option. So here you can give the name to your computer and you can also provide the username. So I want to provide the name CodeBind here, and then your computer name will be automatically selected, but I want my computer name to be CodeMind also. So I'm going to just change the name to CodeBind. Earlier it was CodeBind hyphen VirtualBox, which I wanted to change, right? Here you can select the password. You might want to select the strong password here. I'm going to choose very simple password in my case because I'm just doing this for the demonstration purposes. So I'm going to choose a very simple password here, and then I'm going to leave this checkbox as checked, which says require my password to log in, and then click on next here. And then here you can select your region. By default, my region is Berlin, Germany, and it's automatically detected. But if your region is not detected, you can also select your region from here also, and then click on next. And now you can review your choices, and if you are agree with those choices, just click on install, which is going to start the installation of Ubuntu operating system on your VirtualBox. So at this point, you just need to wait for few seconds to few minutes depending on the internet speed and the capacity of your computer. So I'm going to wait for few seconds here. Now after some time, I can see this message which says Ubuntu 24.04 LTS is installed and ready to use. I can just click on restart button at this point, and then it's going to restart my Ubuntu operating system, and then I will be able to log into my Ubuntu operating system. So I'm going to click on restart now option, which is going to restart my Ubuntu operating system. And at this point, just press enter key on your keyboard, and now I can see that Ubuntu is being started, and now I can see the Ubuntu login window, and this is the username which I have provided for my Ubuntu operating system. So I'm going to click on this username, and then I'm going to provide the password which I have set at the time of installation of Ubuntu. So I'm going to just give my password here and then press enter, and after few seconds I can see the Ubuntu interface. So now Ubuntu is installed on your host operating system, which is Windows 11 in my case, using VirtualBox. And now I can see this message which says welcome to Ubuntu 24.04 LTS. I can click on next button and take the tour of the Ubuntu operating system, and at this point I will select skip for now and then click on next here, and then it says improve Ubuntu. I don't want to share any data, so I'm going to click on no thanks and then click on next here, and then I'm going to click on finish here. So now I can see the Ubuntu desktop. At this point, when I click on this maximize option, so as you can see, my Ubuntu desktop is not resizing according to the size of my Windows 11 operating system, right? And this can be solved by installing the VirtualBox guest editions. So to install the VirtualBox guest editions, first you need to run these two commands in your terminal. I'm going to put these two commands in the description of this video, so you can directly run these two commands and then you can install the VirtualBox guest editions on your Ubuntu operating system. So the first command is sudo apt update. So just open your terminal. You can open the terminal by clicking on this icon here and then search for the terminal option and then launch the terminal, and then you just need to paste this command, which is sudo apt update, and then press enter and provide your Ubuntu's password which you have given at the time of installation of Ubuntu. I'm going to provide that password and then press enter here, which is going to finish this command. And then the next command will be this command. This command will also be present in the description of this video, and I'm going to just paste this command and then press enter, which is going to give me this kind of prompt which says do you want to continue. I will press Y and then press enter, and it's going to install these tools which I have provided using this command. So I'm going to install build essentials, dkms, and then Linux headers using this command, right? So wait for this command to finish. So once this command is finished, then what you need to do is just click on devices option on your VirtualBox menu. So just click on this option which says devices, and then click on this option which says insert guest editions CD image. I'm going to click on this option, which is going to mount this CD, which is for VirtualBox guest editions, into your Ubuntu operating system. So now what you can do here is I'm going to clear the terminal, and then here I'm going to just cd into the media section. So I'm going to just write / media / your username. The username in my case is codebind, and then I have this VirtualBox guest edition or GAs, right? So I'm going to cd into this folder, and when I do ls here, I can see all these files here. Here I just need to run the autorun.sh command. So I'm going to just write dot / autorun.sh file, which is the shell script which I want to run, which is going to install this VirtualBox guest editions. So at this point, I'm going to press enter here, and here just give your Ubuntu's password and then press enter once again, and it will start the installation of VirtualBox guest editions on your VirtualBox. And after some time you can see this message which says press return to close this window. So I'm going to just press enter key on my keyboard, and then I just need to restart my Ubuntu operating system. So at this point I can just power off my virtual machine. I can even click on this close button and then select power off the machine and then click on OK, which is going to power off this Ubuntu operating system. And once that's done, I can restart my Ubuntu operating system by selecting the virtual machine and then click on start here. And this time when my Ubuntu operating system starts, and when I just give my password here, and then when I log into my Ubuntu operating system, I can see when I resize my window for my Ubuntu operating system, the desktop size resizes according to the size of my Windows operating system. So when I maximize it, you can see I can see the full screen in my Ubuntu operating system. So in this way, I can use the Ubuntu full screen using VirtualBox on my host machine. So this is how you can install Ubuntu 24.04 on your Windows 11 operating system using VirtualBox. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next video.